Okay, well, good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Robin Mooring, and I'm the program coordinator for Students at Work. And this is our Students at Work Skilled Trades Industry Spotlight Day. And this session will be focusing on carpentry. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Brett Holm, Brian Fitchner, and Sydney Ellis with the Southeastern Carpenters Regional Council.
Thank you so much, Robin. My name is Brett Hume. I'm with the Southeastern Carpenters Regional Council. We really want to thank the North Carolina BCE Students at Work program, the teachers, and all of you that are observing and curious about opportunities available. Shh. I'm going to let y'all in on a secret. At the end of this session, you're going to find out and hopefully learn opportunities that are available to you in your backyard, close to the house, if you enjoy working with your hands. That being said, the Southeastern Carpenters Regional Council covers 5 states: Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. In my closing remarks, I'm going to come back around to that, so keep that in mind. What's going to happen in the next few minutes after I make some opening remarks, you're going to see a little bit of video. We're going to turn the program over to our Charlotte training director, Brian Fitchner, and then you're going to hear from an actual apprentice in the program that's learning and progressing his skill set up the ladder to be a professional, skilled craftsman under the carpenter trade. Most of the time, when you think of carpenter, think of a hammer, a nail, and a 2x4, right? Well, we still do all that kind of work, but bear with me a second. One of our most valuable tools now has become the screw. What do you mean, Brett? Well, we handle so many different crafts under the carpenter umbrella that hopefully by the end of this session, you will see some of what we do. Now, we work primarily in industrial settings and heavy commercial. That's why you see all of us wearing hard hats. We are very, very, very safety conscious. We want everybody to go home in the same shape they showed up, maybe a little bit more tired. That being said, Robin, if you don't mind rolling the video.
You like to work with your hands, and work with your brains too. You build with pride. You're looking to build a successful career as a skilled craftsman. So look to the Carpenters Union. There you'll find a craft that's the perfect fit for you. As a member of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, you'll join other men and women who are the most productive and skilled craftsmen in the construction industry. It's about getting the job right the first time. Working safe. Jobs coming in, on, or ahead of schedule. And on budget. Carpenter productivity helps our contractors stay competitive, which means we get more work. That means a better, more secure future for you and your family. To take full advantage of this opportunity, you need to know about what crafts our union has to offer. When we think of carpentry, What comes to mind? Swinging a hammer? Measuring? Cutting? Drilling? Sure, we do these jobs, but the UBC is comprised of other highly skilled crafts that are well suited to your talents and abilities. Residential carpenters build homes, apartments, and condominiums. Working in specialized crews, we build the foundation forms, frame up walls, erect the roof trusses. We do much of the flooring and finish work too. Besides working with wood, we have to be on top of the new methods and materials coming out all the time. UBC carpenters also work the big jobs: highway construction, bridges, and water projects. We build concrete forms for high-rises. Our crews place 40-ton panels for commercial buildings, sometimes 10 or 15 in a day. On some work sites, we install the roof systems spanning millions of square feet. We build with our brains, too. Union carpenters read plans and know how to work closely with the other trades. Many times, we're the ones running the work as lead carpenters, foremen, and superintendents. You can already see that our trade is more than working with wood or swinging a hammer. So what else do we have to offer? If you want a challenging outdoor job, maybe you want to be a pile driver. Pile drivers can be seen working on bridges or along the waterfront, repairing docks and building wharves. Our craft performs large-scale and deep foundation work. We make sure all the piles drive home plumb and true. A pile driver has to be ready to do anything that's needed. Climb 30 or 40 feet to fix the rig. Do rough carpentry, weld, or cut steel or iron. Some of our experienced pile drivers are certified to dive underwater to make repairs. Today, we're even experimenting with one-man submersibles to go where needed. Pile drivers have a tough job, but nobody loves it more or does it better. So far, you've seen how hard carpenters work outdoors, but you'll find a lot of action inside too. Interior systems carpenters work in a tough, competitive market. Users and tenants want to occupy their office space ASAP. When it comes to interior systems, union carpenters have to be on top of their game. We're the best in the business because we do more than hang drywall. We do layout, cut and frame the metal studs. When the walls are up, we do the taping too. Our drywall mechanics work productively with no wasted effort. Interior systems carpenters also install doors and hardware. We do all the finished carpentry in today's modern building. As a union carpenter, you'll gain a thorough understanding of special tools and materials. Precision and attention to detail will be a part of your skill set. UBC floor layers are a good example of this level of skill. We're professionals who work to the highest standard. We install hardwood flooring, carpeting, vinyl sheet stock, or tile. We work with an eye for perfection, whether it's a large installation or intricate floor designs. We have to be meticulous because exacting contractors, users, designers, and architects demand flawless work. When we finish a job, we know it's done right with no callbacks. Commercial buildings often use aesthetically pleasing surfaces and architectural forms. Lathers build the reinforced substructure for these plaster and stucco finishes. We are master craftsmen who work mostly with metal mesh and tie wire. Lathers use a variety of hand and portable power tools. A lot of our work is on scaffolding. Some projects demand that we cover the sides of large, multi-story buildings. Our trade also requires working with curves and free-form shapes. Sometimes we provide the framework for ornate walls and ceilings. The results can be spectacular. In talking about impressive, high-end work, how would you like to be a carpenter making the millwork going into the finest commercial and residential buildings? That's the work of UBC Mill Cabinet Craftsmen. We shape and craft all manner of specialty woodwork. A mill cab professional works with solid wood, laminates, and other materials. We use time-honored tools as well as computer-controlled machines to turn out top-quality products. Mill cab is a great choice if you like precise, detailed work. UBC millwrights are also well acquainted with precision.
Now this is C, 10-inch, 16 thousandths.
Our work involves tolerances within a thousandth of an inch. Millwrights work in North America's biggest industries. Our job is to install and align heavy machinery like motors, conveyors, pumps, compressors, and giant turbines. When a plant has an outage or shutdown, we're in there to make the repairs efficiently and get operations up and running. Delays can cost the manufacturer millions of dollars in lost output. Communities need lights and power restored as soon as possible. Millwrights use mechanical and high-precision tools. We do layout, rigging, erecting, and fabrication too. We're experts with a torch and even make parts when we need to.
I-0.
Often our tools are pencil and paper. Union millwrights have to know their math to calculate alignments or determine how well a mechanical system is operating. How you gain your carpenter skills is through UBC training,
If you're not putting a ridge
the best in the industry. Your local training center is committed to help you reach your goals as a carpenter. Once you finish your 4-year apprenticeship and become a journeyman, your training doesn't stop there. Our union continually offers certifications and journeyman upgrades so you can advance in your chosen craft and stay on top of our changing industry. Some of you will go on to become lead carpenters and foremen. Your local training center has special courses designed to help you step up to these new responsibilities. The International Training Center in Las Vegas demonstrates the UBC's commitment to advancing its members' skills. Here, the UBC generates new programs, trains instructors for our 250 local training centers, and delivers the most comprehensive training in the industry. Working with our union contractors, we've developed a superintendent career training program that prepares talented individuals to oversee and manage productive work sites. As a union carpenter, you have challenging crafts to choose from and the training to go with it. You're in a tough, competitive industry, so it's up to your efforts on the job to determine your success and ours. The United Brotherhood of Carpenters.
Go ahead, Brian.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Fitchner. I'm the training coordinator for the Charlotte Training Center for the UBC. Right off the get-go, if you're looking to become a tradesperson, look into your apprenticeships. With the carpenters, it's a 4-year apprenticeship that is a Department of Labor accredited apprenticeship. So after 4 years, you will be classified as a journeyman. as long as you attend all your classes and you're working on the job. Our training center here, we provide training for millwrights and carpenters, both alike. First year apprentices come in and they're already learning what OSHA is about, how to work safely, because with any job that we go to or we send you all out to, safety is number one. If we can't send you home safely, then something is not happening correctly. So we start you off right there with what OSHA regulations, and then we're going to start easing you into how do you use hand and power tools safely. Okay. At my training center, I train a carpenter to be able to do all aspects of the job, whether it's concrete, scaffolding, finish work, interior systems. So as you're going through your apprenticeship progression, you have the choice to be able to go into, say, in dedicated scaffold builder. If you decide you don't want to be a carpenter, you can just be a dedicated scaffold builder. You can go through and become an interior system specialist, a cabinet specialist, a trim guy. We prefer you all to be a well-rounded. That way, we can send you out to multiple kinds of jobs instead of just waiting for that special one to come up. But my history is I got into the UBC in '97. Since '97, I think I've had maybe 9 months off. So as you know, as you're going through, as long as you're a dedicated worker, you're involved in training, you're going to grow in the trade, with the Department of Labor guiding us on how to do this apprenticeship. You know, we have to meet their requirements. We can't just sit there and say, okay, well, you come as a first period apprentice today and 2 months later you're a journeyman. You have to meet the time requirements. You have to meet on-the-job training. And this on-the-job training is you're out there making money while you're learning. And so it's a good way to learn a trade. I would actually like to go ahead and open it up for Sydney right now, who is one of our apprentices here. We just sent him for some training out in Las Vegas, and he can share a little bit what he did out there. Go ahead, Sydney.
Hey, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, my name's Sydney Ellis. I'm out of the local Carpenters 312 in Charlotte, North Carolina, going into the final year of my apprenticeship. And it's been a blast. He said, I went out to Vegas for training, and that's wonderful. You meet a lot of different people that have a lot of different aspects on and different takes on things. And it really opens your eyes up to a lot of different scopes of work and way of viewing your work out there. It's real motivating. Fires you right up. And it's a 2 million square foot workshop. I mean, if you love to work with your hands, it's a working man's dream out there. They got everything from wood framing to bridges to the underwater welding tank. It's amazing. But I would just wanted to give my testimony on the apprenticeship. I mean, and to understand my appreciation for it, you got to understand a little bit about where I came from. But straight out of high school, heck, while I was in high school, I was just working in a little restaurant, making $7.25 an hour, working 16 hours a day, 365 days a year. Well, 364, the only day off we got was Christmas. And they took all your overtime from you, and you were just another number. But since I've joined the apprenticeship, it's just been amazing. I mean, you matter, and you ain't starting your professional career off $200,000 in debt. All you got to invest in is your time. What you get in, what you put in, you get out of it. It's great, and it's just been nice. I've just yes, but it's just been one heck of a blast. I mean, learning everything from the way they did things in the old days, the cutting edge technology, and working with people like Brian and Brett that have your back no matter what, and working with an organization that just takes the best care of you. They don't let nobody cheat you out your money. They don't let nobody take your hours from you. But it's just been a wonderful 4 years. Wonderful 4 years. I highly recommend it.
Thank you, Sydney.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to mention, Sydney kind of touched upon it there. You know, when you're getting out of school and you're looking into different career choices and paths, one thing that a lot of people will do is they'll look into college or trade schools. Okay. We are an accredited program with the Department of Labor to be able to say, yes, you have received your training. You have got your education through the UBC. It's not just you're coming here and, you know, you learn a little bit. You are getting an accredited trade certificate when you're done with your apprenticeship. It's, and like Sydney said, you're not going in debt to take student loans out to learn your trade. You're getting actually paid to learn while you're out there on the job. So throughout your 4-year apprenticeship, you come to our training facility 4 weeks out of each year. And then the rest of the time, you can be out there with your employer earning money through our program. So you're not going to have, well, latest figure I've heard is in the neighborhood of, you know, $100,000 of student loan debt when you're done with your 4 years. Anything else there, Brett?
Yeah, if y'all want, Brian, appreciate your stepping out of class to do this. Thank you, Sydney. If we'd like to open up for questions, if anybody has, I saw one in the chat, but I'll leave it to the facilitator.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. The first one is, do people usually stick with one type of job within this industry, or is it okay to try something new after a while?
Brian, you want to take that?
Yes, and absolutely. You know, like Sydney, he's a well-rounded apprentice in our group. He did not specialize in any one type of the carpentry. He can do concrete, he can do scaffolding. In fact, this last time he was at our training center, he was learning a little bit about flooring. And we have roofing available. So when it comes to our curriculum, no, you do not have to just stick with one. You can go through and learn multiple trade or multiple aspects of the carpentry.
Awesome. Another question is, can you start an apprenticeship in high school?
We have a program that we do work with high schools through the UBC. It's called a career connection, so that when you do get out of high school, you do get some, you know, depending upon how many of the courses you went through, you could get up to a year's worth of credit for completing the 4 years of that career connections. As far as going out to the job site with the Department of Labor and OSHA, it is a 18-year-old minimum to go out to most of our job sites.
Another question is, what sort of classes would you suggest people taking in high school to prepare for an apprenticeship, even if they're not specific carpentry classes?
Most of your trades, you're going to have to be somewhat good with math. I'm not talking about rocket science math. You know, you're not having to learn how to be able to do calculus or anything like that, but being able to understand fractions, decimals, being able to go between the two, learning how to use a triangle to set up things that are square, or like a 60-degree angle, be able to understand that. And that's going to be your biggest problem that we've got in a lot of our people, is they don't understand when they're coming in, they're not understanding that this is a math. So they're like, oh, well, I'm not good at math. But we will help educate you and help you learn how it is important and how to be able to do it.
Awesome. The next question is, what is the average salary for carpentry?
At our Charlotte local here, we are, our wages right now are 20, correct me if I'm wrong, Brett, 25.52 an hour for a journeyman?
I believe so.
Okay. So 25.52 an hour, plus benefits of health and welfare, and your retirement is on top of that. Our apprentices start off, their first period apprentice is 60% of the scale. So that is what, roughly $15.05 an hour. And then you just, for every 6 months, as long as you meet the requirements of advancement, which is 80 class hours and 650 on the job hours, you'll get a 5% increase, basically, and you'll jump up to 65% then. And then, so once you get up there in the journeyman range, it's 25.52 an hour in our area. Some other areas, like some of the government projects, like down in Georgia, they've got some that are paying 31 an hour. It just depends upon how far you are willing to travel, how long you're working there, how much you apply yourself out there on the job site.
And if I can also piggyback on that, the different crafts that you saw in the videos command different wages. So what Brian gave you is probably an average of what an apprentice would start at. That's today now, not when y'all get ready, because it'll go up. But in terms of annual, I would answer this question in terms of range. We have apprentices, first-year apprentices, that'll make $40,000 a year. We have journeyman carpenters that'll make anywhere between $80,000 and $100,000 a year. The opportunity is there. It's how much you want to go after it.
Thank you so much. Another question is, how long are you a journeyman? And then is there a licensing or certification process at the end of the training?
Journeyman, you are a journeyman. Once you graduate from our apprenticeship, you are classified as a journeyman. And that they do give you a certification after becoming a journeyman, and you will get a journeyman's card. And from there, as far as licensing or certification processes, you get it when you become a journeyman. And then, after that, whatever certifications you want to take, such as, our welding certifications, you can keep up on those. We have other certifications that we do, like a master rigger. We have a master rigging program that you can get certified in. As far as, if you are going to be wanting to go above and beyond and just being a carpenter, and you want to own your own business, you can go through and work with the UBC and sign a contract and be able to, use your fellow members to be able to further benefit yourself and get the jobs.
And those sort of certifications that you get, are those like national certifications? So when you could move to another state and you'd still be qualified, or is it specific to North Carolina?
Okay, our certifications are good on any UBC job site. So our master rigger program, if you were able to get a master rigger program and you went out to a job site that was that our members were out there working, that would be an acceptable certificate. And that's not only good here in the United States, you can travel up to Canada to UBC members up there also.
Okay. Another question is, do most carpenters work as independent contractors or for specific companies?
I'm going to say right now, most of your carpenters, they are working for different companies. Most of the time, like Sydney here, he just got done with a job that he was, what it was, 6 months, Sydney, that you were down there?
6, 7 months in South Carolina.
And then, so from that, he'll get dispatched to another job when it becomes available. And in fact, I think you've already got one, don't you, Sydney?
Yep, starting Raleigh. No, they put me out there in Charlotte on the flooring systems starting next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see, it's not just going to be one contractor your whole career. If you get on with a contractor that can keep you busy your whole career, it is rare in our trades. I mean, any trade as a tradesman, you are going from job site to job site, normally company to company. Longest I think I've ever worked for a single company was 7.5 years. But I would call the union hall and they would say, okay, well, we've got another job. You want to go to it? So I get done with that job, go to the next job, just like Sydney's getting ready to do.
Yeah, if I could follow up on that, to help everybody understand the nature of the construction industry. Once construction workers show up on a project, they work till that project is completed. And if the contractor does not have a secondary project to follow up immediately, then as you heard Brian say, the members would call us, we'd say, hey, we have another project there. So it would probably be with a different contractor. So you could have multiple contractors that you work for, but every carpenter is a W-2 employee, not an independent contractor. And because they are a W-2 employee, on top of the wages that were discussed earlier, they have health care provided with no contributions, and they have retirements and all the rights that come with employee status, workman's compensation. If for some reason the economy tanks, they're entitled to unemployment benefits. All these things that an independent contractor has to find on their own.
Okay, thank you. And another question, do you guys have a favorite project that you've worked on, or when it comes to like concrete versus flooring, or do you guys have anything that you prefer to work on?
Brian, you got a preference?
Go ahead, Sydney. I'll let you go first.
I was working for a company called Adirondack Studios. They do a lot of like the big Disney projects down in Disney, Orlando Studios, stuff like that. And I was working with them on doing some really fine, like really precise, like cornices, trim, metal awnings. We installed a giant chicken cuckoo clock. That was amazing. I mean, there's a lot of things I love. I mean, that's a beautiful thing about this trade is you're not just doing one thing over and over again. I mean, you find a lot of things you fall in love with, and it's just a wonderful thing. Lots of favorite projects, but Adirondack Studios and Fine Trim was something I really enjoyed.
And for me, I am a thrill seeker, if that's what you want to call it, one of those people that love the adrenaline rushes. So for me, the ones that I really enjoyed working on were the ones that I was up off the ground, flying in, as you saw in the video, those 40-ton gang forms and hooking them up when we're 110 feet in the air. I really enjoyed that stuff. As far as what I'm doing right now, instructing, there's nothing I'd rather do. I get to share my knowledge. I get to increase people's lives just through knowledge. And I made some good friends out of the whole ordeal of it.
For me, when I was working with my tools, framing was my favorite, especially wood framing. I just enjoyed that so much because for me, you could see the progress from when you came in at 7 o'clock in the morning till you left at 4:30 in the afternoon. You could visually see the progress, more so than in other crafts. I mean, the same happens in concrete and scaffold and everything else, but for me, it was framing.
Those all sound awesome. Another question, going back to what you had said before, Brett, the benefits that you were talking about, are those provided by the contractor that they're working for? And can they be different from employer to employer?
They are uniform from employer to employer, and they are provided by the contractor because all of our members work under a collective bargaining agreement. That means all these contractors have agreed to pay this wage, contributions to these benefits, and your retirement on your behalf.
That is good to know.
So let me give a mathematical example to kind of follow on Brian's example. If a carpenter's making $25 on his paycheck in Charlotte, his benefit package, meaning healthcare and retirement, he's probably actually making closer to $32 to $34 an hour if you calculate that in.
Yes. It's actually right. If I remember right, it's right above 34 an hour with everything that is on our benefits.
That definitely sounds really great. Another question, were any of you nervous your first time going to work in the field?
Oh, yeah. But it's something you get over relatively quickly. I mean, there's a little bit of shell shock, especially coming out of, a different environment. I mean, there's some rough and gruff people out there. There's some funny ones. I mean, it was pretty nerve-wracking, but once you just get in there, start getting your hands dirty, start talking to people, it's a very comfortable environment. It really is.
For me, not really. It's hard to get me nervous, but the only time I've ever been really nervous that I can remember, it involved my kids and medical. I don't like being in the hospital with my family, so that's about the only time I really get nervous.
For me, I wasn't really too nervous because the job I started on was relatively small. So I can understand completely if it was a large project, that could be intimidating. I can appreciate that.
I know you guys had mentioned before about how safety always comes first. So I imagine as long as you get that training in the beginning, you feel safe going out into the field.
It helps.
It helps. Another question is, what are the opportunities for women in the field?
Everyone that there is for men, there's for women out there. The UBC has a program called the Sisters in the Brotherhood. Is growing strong. In this class I'm teaching, out of 15 guys, I've got 5 women in this class. So, and I'm just saying, come on, join up. I love working right beside you with you guys. You guys, you ladies are we need more of you out in the field.
Do we have any other questions in Anybody wants to drop in the chat before we go ahead and wrap things up? I'll give you guys another minute or so.
Sarah, while you're doing that, I'll just make a couple closing remarks. I'm glad the question was asked about women in the trade. I was going to address that. We have 10 different training centers throughout those 5 states I mentioned earlier on my opening remarks. And I asked y'all to keep track of that because, as was mentioned earlier, when you start a project, you work till it's over. You may opt for a project that allows you to travel. You might want to go to Atlanta, for example, or Nashville for a project. We have training centers that you can transfer to that work site and continue your training in those centers without missing a beat. That way you stay on the path for your raises that you're entitled to, your classroom hours, and obviously your work hours. So yes, sisters, come on, love to have you. Brothers, come on, we'd love to have you. We're growing. You could be a great part.
That is great. And I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you to everybody who came and participated today. Specifically, thank you to our speakers, Brett Holm, Brian Fitchner, and Sydney Ellis. Thank you to all the students who are participating as well. Just a reminder to the teachers, please make sure to have your students fill out those feedback surveys that Robin has sent to you. And if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and send those to Robin and she can relay them back to these guys and get those questions answered for you. If you guys have anything that you'd like for us to share with the teachers, anything about those apprenticeship programs, go ahead and share those to Robin and she can make sure that the teachers and the students get that information too. And again, thank you to everybody for joining us today. It was a great presentation and everybody have a great rest of their day.
Thank you.